It is that time again. It is Crockpot season. I love this time of year. Fall is in the air. It's right around the corner. For some of you guys, you might be already having those nice, cool, crisp mornings. However, here in Florida, we are still having those hot, sweaty, humid mornings. I can't wait for the temperatures to start dropping just a little bit. So in today's video, I have 4 delicious crock pot dishes that you can make. One is a dessert, or you can have it for breakfast, and the other 3 are more for dinner time. I hope you enjoy this video. And if you're not already subscribed, go ahead and click on that subscribe button and tap on the bell so that you don't miss any of my videos. I've got some really good fall ones planned and ready to go for you. So let's go ahead and dive in and see what kind of crockpot meals I came up with. Our first meal is chicken and dumplings. This is one of my all-time favorites. It's so easy to make. It's pretty much a dump and go until it's time to add in your dumplings. In the bottom of your crock pot, you want to add in about 2 pounds of boneless, skinless chicken thighs. You can use chicken breast if you want, but I find that the chicken thighs just adds a little more flavor to the dish. And then adding in a medium onion chopped, about 2 tablespoons of butter. I have some parsley and salt. I probably used about 2 teaspoons of parsley and half a teaspoon of salt. Y'all know I don't really measure. And then I also had some poultry seasoning in there as well, just a little bit, and some garlic powder. Now I'm adding in 2 cups of chicken broth, 2 cans of cream of chicken soup, and then mix it all together, and that's pretty much it. You're going to put the lid on. You're going to cook it on low for about 6 hours. After your 6 hours, you're going to just kind of shred or break up the chicken. I'm using just a silicone fork here, and look how easily this chicken is falling apart. It is so tender, so juicy. Now it's time to make the dumplings, and these are going to be made with biscuits. So you just take a regular biscuit. I like to use the buttermilk biscuits. You can use any brand. I was using the Great Value brand. You just tear them apart into little balls or little pieces and roll them up into a little ball. You don't even really have to do that. And then just drop them on the top, and this is what it will look like. And I do like to just kind of push them down into the soup and let the tops of those biscuits get some of the soup on it so they're not really dry on the top from cooking. You're going to put your lid back on and cook for another hour. When it's all done, this is what it looks like. You have some big fluffy dumplings. Oh my goodness, you guys, this dish is so delicious. It's just scrumptious. It's one of those stick to your ribs kind of meals. You don't have to really serve it with anything. I did serve it with a side of green beans. Look at that dumpling. Oh my goodness. I am ready to have this again for dinner. This next crock pot dish can either be for breakfast or a dessert. We actually had it for both. It is so good. If you can't decide if you like pumpkin more than apple or apple more than pumpkin, then why not have both? This is a pumpkin apple crisp. It is delicious. You're going to use pumpkin puree, not a pumpkin pie filling, but the actual pumpkin puree. Put that in a bowl. You're going to add in some maple syrup, all of your good fall spices such as cinnamon, ginger, cloves, allspice, nutmeg, and a little bit of salt. Now I'm going to mix all of that up so that all those spices and that pumpkin puree are well incorporated. I have 6 Granny Smith apples. They're peeled, cored, and I have them cut in about 1/4 inch thick slices. I'm going to mix that all up together. Make sure that pumpkin puree is covering all of the apples. I'm using my Instant Pot for this on the slow cook setting because my crock pot was being used at the time. I am just putting that down in the crock pot. Now I'm going to make the crisp part of this pumpkin apple crisp. In my bowl, I'm going to mix together some old-fashioned oats, all-purpose flour, and ground cinnamon. I'm going to give that a good stir, get it all mixed up together, and then add in some unsalted butter that's cut into small cubes. And I'm just going to use my hands to work that butter into that mixture and just work it in there really good until it's like clumps. Now I'm going to add in the maple syrup and mix that all up together and place that on top of the pumpkin apple mixture that's in the Instant Pot or crock pot. I'm going to cook this on the slow cook setting for 3 hours. I set it on here for 2 hours, but then I went back and changed it to 3 hours. Y'all, this was so good. It was like eating an apple pie almost. It was absolutely delicious. I did put a little bit of whipped cream on the top, and like I said, we had it for dessert that night, and then Amelia had been eating on it for breakfast until it was all gone. The next meal is beef stew. However, we're not using stew meat. We're making this recipe a little bit cheaper than if you use stew meat. We're using good old hamburger meat. I did brown it on the stove beforehand, just so you can get those nice caramelized bits and pieces of the hamburger meat. If you're in a crunch for time, you can put your hamburger meat right into the crock pot, not cooked. However, I don't recommend that because it's just not as flavorful. Now I'm adding in my diced up potatoes, and I used one of those fancy choppers that's like in a rectangular shape, and you just push the lid down. I love that thing. I got it for my birthday. Absolutely love it. 100% recommend it. I also added in some carrots and an onion. I'm going to put in some diced tomatoes. And in my diced tomato, I'm putting in all of my seasoning, which I have salt, pepper, oregano, and a little bit of onion powder in there. And I also used some minced garlic. Mix that all up into the tomatoes and then add the tomatoes on top of your other veggies. And then I just kind of spread that to make it sure that it's all even on top. And now I'm pouring in 2 cups of beef broth. And this smelled so good, just mixing everything together before it even started cooking. I'm going to put that lid on and cook it on low for about 6 to 7 hours, or you could do high for about 3 to 4 hours until your potatoes and carrots are nice and tender. This was so good. It's such a good comfort food again. Our next meal is Parmesan chicken with red potatoes. This was really good, very easy to make. So in my crock pot, I have about 2 pounds of red potatoes. I just quartered those, and I'm pouring some olive oil on top of that, and then I'm just going to mix that up a little bit so that the olive oil gets on all of the potatoes. I'm going in with my seasonings. I'm using basil, oregano, and some rosemary. It gives it a really good Italian flavor. I'm also adding in some minced garlic. I love using the jar minced garlic. It's just so much quicker and easier than chopping up fresh garlic, although fresh garlic is really good. I also added in about 2 tablespoons of butter, and now I'm just going to put my boneless, skinless chicken thighs right on top of those potatoes. and then I'll add some kosher salt and pepper. I will cook this on low for about 6 to 7 hours. Here is how the chicken turned out. This smelled so good. I love whenever I go to work and I forget that I put something in the crock pot and I come home and the house smells delicious. So once you plate up your chicken and potatoes, you're just gonna take that Parmesan cheese and sprinkle it on top of the chicken. If you wanna add parsley flakes on top, you can. If not, no worries. Look how tender this chicken is. Oh my goodness, it was so good. Very tasty and lots of flavor. So that wraps up this fall-inspired crockpot meals. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you try any of these meals, let me know down in the comments, or you can message me over on Instagram. I'm at Living in the Mom Lane. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.